Every film tells its story in a different way. Some films tell its story through dialogue, or even through actors and sound design. But one of the most extraordinary ways a film can tell its story is through its cinematography. I truly believe that the cinematographer is as important or even sometimes more important than the director or the actors. Robert Bresson, an early cinematographer, states, two types of films: those that employ the resources of theater, actors, direction, etc., and use the camera in order to reproduce, or those that employ the resources of cinematography and use the camera to create. Cinematography is simply one of the most powerful tools in showing emotion and tension without relying on the actors or even direction. So how can we create a cinematic image? Well, there's a ton of ways we can create a cinematic image, but some of the most important are lighting and composition. If we look at some of the lead cinematographers in the industry, we can see some powerful similarities with them all. Everything is backlit. Backlighting helps to pull the subject away from the environment and create more depth. We can also use backlighting to show different emotions and add tension depending on how we use it. Vilmos Zsigmond, a popular cinematographer, states, "I like to say that lighting is about taking the light away. I often like to use the shadows more than the light." Backlighting is pretty simple to achieve, and for this image, I first placed my motivating light behind the subject. I also had a softbox right outside the frame to bring more light onto my face. All of this creates a nice rim light around my face, separating me from the background. We also see a light-dark pattern moving across the screen, which helps create more depth and interest onto the subject. The next most important step to shooting backlighting is shooting from the shadow side rather than the light side. Shooting from the shadow side creates more depth on the subject, making the overall image look more interesting. For example, in this shot, I'm lighting myself from behind using a motivating lamp and a softbox out of frame to fill in more of my face. I'm shooting from the shadow side of my face rather than the light side of my face because it creates more depth and allows for that rim light to show. But if we switch the camera to shoot on the light side of the face, we can see how the image looks more flat and bland, losing depth and interest. The next thing we can do when lighting our scene is using motivated lighting. Motivated lighting is an extremely powerful tool in making our image look higher quality. As a viewer, when we see where light is coming from, it can help us know more about the environment and the world the character is in. It can also help our image look more realistic, as to not pull our viewer out of the film with inconsistencies. So as an example, in this image, I used the lamp behind me to motivate the light on my face. But really, I have a softbox right out of frame that's filling in the rest of my face. Having this light source helps the viewer understand more about the world this film takes place in, and makes it more believable. The same thing goes for this image. The windows in the back are motivating the light, but really, I have a softbox out of frame, which fills in the rest of my face. And I also have a black sheet just out of frame on the left side to block off reflections from filling in the shadow side with light. We also see a Rembrandt triangle that helps me to look more flattering. The next thing to make a more cinematic image is using composition. Composition is a powerful way to draw more interest and create satisfaction in the image. The composition can help draw the viewer's eye to the most important part of the image, and even create more depth in the environment. Composition can be easily implemented by using simple rules like the rule of thirds or leading lines. For example, in this image, if we drop the rule of thirds grid on it, we can see instantly how the eyes are perfectly lined up with the top line. This makes my eyes the center of interest and the first thing the viewer sees. Placing the subject's eyes on this top line is the go-to and should be how you frame most people's faces majority of the time. Next, we can see how the windows in the back are separated into each column, making the image feel balanced. The rule of thirds can be used in many creative ways to create more balance and satisfaction in the image, and is a powerful tool for cinematographers and photographers. Next is leading lines. A great example of this is this image where the railings point towards our subject, leading our eyes to the point of interest. Another example is in this image where we can see the blinds direct our eyes to the point of interest, aka our subject. Now you know more about how lighting and composition can help create a more cinematic image, and these were just the basics. So thanks for watching.